Hi everybody and welcome back to this fourth installment in this HTML basics course. In this lesson we're going to carry on where we left off in lesson 3 and we're going to continue to build the marketing website, or the landing page I should say. So in this lesson I'm going to show you a HTML form, how to add a form to your website or your web page. It's a little bit more involved than what we've done before, but it's nothing too crazy, so let's jump in it. I'll quickly show you the site that we've got so far, which is looking like this. Nothing special, but the information is on there that we need from HTML. Forms. HTML forms tend to take in a couple of different tags. So we've got a label tag, and that has an ending, and then we have an input tag as well. And the input tag is self-closing. Okay, now the label tag, we can put a label in here. So if this is a form, in this form I'm going to put in a few different elements. It's not going to be the most prettiest form when it's done, but it's going to show you a few different things that you can put into a HTML form. So you can put things like your name in there, your email address, your password. You can have radio buttons for yes or no. You can have a drop-down list with months or days on there if you're selecting your date of birth for a form, and you can have a tick box as well. So we're going to put a few of these elements in so you get to see them working. So a label, we tend to have a label for each input that you want the users to use. So this label, we're going to say full name. I think we'll get them to put their full name in. Okay, and then the input, we can put type equals to text. So this makes this a text input. Let's quickly have a look at that. So there we've got a name, full name, and then we've got the input there. Okay, I'm going to build this up slowly for you because there's a few other things to add to those. But the other thing I'll do is a submit button. So if we do a button, and then we can do a type, I believe it's type. It is type, so it's type submit. So that makes that button a submit button. And in fact, what I forgot to do actually is do the HTML tag for a form. So we're going to put all of these inputs and labels inside of a form. So I'm just going to shift that across a little bit, come down and paste that one in. Okay, so now we've got our section, and we've got a form, and then we've got a label, which is corresponding to the input, and then we've got this submit button which will submit this information here to the back end. And later on, when you're doing JavaScript or some back end work, you will take this information from the user and you will possibly store it in a database, or you will get some JavaScript and you'll take that data and display it back to the user. So that submit button does that for us. It's built in there. So let's have a look at that. So we've got a submit button. Oh yeah, so the button's kind of tiny. Okay, it's doing its thing, but I think, what do I need to add to that submit button? Type submit. I need to actually type the word submit in because we've got an opening and closing tag there. So if I put submit and come back on here and refresh it, now we can see how we've got a little submit button. I'll just zoom in there for you. Okay, so now when we submit it, it's taking whatever we put in there and it's submitting it and refreshing the page. Okay, so let's fill it out a bit more. So we've got the label, so we've got this input, and it's a type of text. And in fact, I'll show you, we can have different ones. So we can have email. So if we come back and refresh this, now it's expecting an email. So if I don't put an email in, it says automatically, please enter an email address. So it's waiting for an @ symbol, but we can't just do that. We have to make it somewhat of an email, and then it'll submit it. So when it was a text input, we could just put text in and submit, and that would work fine. Now that I've changed it to an email input, it's expecting an email. Okay, so if you're having an email input, which we'll have in a moment, we would set it as type as email. And we can also have password as well, which is another good one to show you. So if we set that input as a password input, now when we type in the box, we can't see our writing because it's type password, which is really cool. Okay, so let's fill it out a little bit more. So this first one is going to be a text input. and we're going to give it a name. And the name is going to be, let's call it full name. You can call this anything you want. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. So it's got this input has got a name of full name, and again we could use that on the back end to highlight that data. And it's the same with this label. We can say this label is for, what is it for? Well, it's for full name. Okay, so this label corresponds and matches up with this input. Okay, hopefully you won't get too confused by that. It took me a little bit of thinking to get my head around that when I first learned this. But yeah, we've got an input with a name of full name. And we could call this anything. That could be called cheese pizza. And then this input would be for cheese pizza. But at the moment, we've got these two connected as full name. So we can add some other attributes to this input. Autofocus is one that is fairly common. What autofocus means is that when this web page is loaded for the user, the cursor will automatically go to that input. So if I save that and come back here, when I load the page, we're waiting there for the information. Okay, so that is autofocus. I'll leave it on for this lesson, just so you've got it there. Another one you'll see very often is required. So that means that this input is required to submit. So if we want to submit anything, we have to fill in this information because it's required. So again, if we come back here and submit without any information, we can submit. If I refresh the page with that required in there, now I can't submit because I have to fill in this field because it's required. Okay, and the other thing we can put in there is a placeholder as well. And this is a bit of text. Placeholder equals, we'll put enter full name. So we come back on here. Now we can see there's nothing in that box, and we refresh, and now we've got that placeholder saying enter full name. Okay, so that's how you do that. So that's our first input. We've got our full name. So we'll add a few more things. We'll do another label. And this is going to be for, we'll say this is for email. And again, I'm just going to make this a bit more clearer for you. So that's for email address. And we'll put here email. And then we'll create an input. Let's go for, the type is going to be email. It's going to be required. And we're going to have a placeholder saying enter email. Okay, so now we've got a label. Let's end that one. We've got a label which corresponds to this input, and now we've got another label which corresponds to this input. So this input, in fact, the name I've missed out, haven't I? The name is going to be email ad. So now this input has got a name called email ad, and this label is for the email ad. Okay, so this is kind of for screen readers. So a screen reader or screen reading software will know that this label and the text in this label corresponds to the input that's nearby. Okay, so I think I saved that. Did I save it? Let's save it and refresh. And now we can see we've got our full name, which has got the autofocus there. And then we've got email afterwards. Of course, it's not styled and it doesn't look nice. We'll do that in the next course on CSS. But for the moment, that email's there. So again, if I try and submit, I've got to fill this field out. So I can fill that one out, try and submit. This is not an email, so it's going to ask me for an email. And now I've got those two parameters, I can submit. Because both of those are required. Did I put required for that one? Yep, that is required. Okay, so let's do another input. Next, I think I've got... okay, offers. So this is going to be a selection. This one's a little bit different. So label, we're going to say it's for, I think this is called offers. Any more information in there? Nope. So we'll put receive offers. So this is going to be a yes or no option in the form. So we've got the label. I'm going to get that button down there for the moment. We've got the label, so let's have an input. and this is going to be type. The type of this, in fact, we're not going to do that as an input. That's going to be select option, in fact. So we've got select and we've got name, which we've already done as offers. We've not done it as offers, but above here we've got the label for offers, and this is the actual offers. So we'll put, and then we're going to have different options here. So the option is going to be the yes, or no. Okay, so let's check that. So now we've got receive offers, and we don't have anything in there. Let's see what I'm missing here. So we've got label, offers, receive offers. I think it's because I've put the select here. I believe this is going at the end. It is going at the end. Okay. So let's try that one. Okay, so receive offers, yes or no. Okay, the other input we've got is for, okay, so this is to accept the terms and conditions. So we'll do a label for, I've probably called this terms, yep. Something like I agree to the terms and conditions. Okay, we'll save that, and then we'll come down and do the input for that one. We'll give it a name of terms, the type. Hopefully you can see here, it doesn't matter what order you put these in as long as they're in there. The type, so you can see all the different types here. We can have a button or a checkbox, or we can have different color, dates, etc. This one is going to be, what are we going for here? We are going for a checkbox. So this is to check whether you agree to the terms and conditions or not. And that one is going to be required. Anything else for that one? It's got type, name, required. Okay, so let's check that. So that is pretty much everything for our form, I believe. So we've got the full name, we've got our email address. Do you want to receive offers? Yes or no, I agree to the terms and conditions. Now we've got a little checkbox. And we've got a submit button. Okay, so let's check it. So if we press submit, we can't do anything because we haven't got a name, so we can put text in. Can we submit? No, because we haven't got an email address. We have to do this. Can we submit? No, because we've not checked the terms and conditions. Now we've checked that one. Can we submit? Yes, we can submit. So that is our form. That is the basic structure of our form with the basic functionality ready to go. So with HTML, you can get a fair bit of functionality just from the tags that it offers you and the options. So that is our form. I will quickly say that you sometimes see a different type of input. So if I hit Control// I can comment that one out. You can see a different type of submit input, which is here we've got it set as a button and the type as submit. So this will help, again, screen reading technologies and the browser and what have you know that is a button, and you can submit with it. But another way of doing it is input, and then you can do type equals submit. So we'll see down here we have a submit type, and then I think we can set the value to be submit. Oop. And then I believe we just end that like that. I've got it somewhere. I guess it needs a /. So let's try that one. So again, we've got that submit button there. Okay, so that's just a different way of doing it. And just to show you, if I uncomment that one, we should get 2 submit buttons. Okay, so that is another way of doing it which you may see. But as far as HTML5 standards are concerned, you should do it with the button tag. It's much better, okay, to do it that way. So that's the form. I think I'll leave it there for this lesson because there's a fair bit to get stuck into there, and by all means please jump on a text editor and start practicing some of this stuff. And once we get onto the CSS in the next course, we'll make this form look really nice and presentable and like a regular form that you would see on a website. But basically, just with HTML, you can see how much functionality we can get already, which is really cool. So yeah, I'll leave it there for this lesson. In the next lesson, it's going to be the last lesson, I think, on HTML. We will add some classes and some IDs to this HTML and maybe a couple of other little bits that we need to do. And then we'll add the CSS file in there as well. And we'll just round off the whole HTML course. So yeah, stick around for the next one. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.